Welcome back to First Things First. Chris Mannix joins the show.
Hey, good to see you, Mannix. How are you, brother? It's been too long.
I know, a couple weeks.
Good to see you, brother. What's up, C?
Give it to him.
I think we might all be on the same page on this one.
All right, the table is set. Let's go. Warriors and Pelicans game 2 last night. The long-awaited return of Steph Curry. And just like he did last time he was out a few weeks with an injury, he did not miss a beat. 28 points in 27 minutes. Warriors won game 2, 121 to 116, taking a 2 games to none series lead. Here's Steph Curry speaking after the game about returning to the floor.
Real eager as of late, trying to get back out there, be with my teammates and do what I love to do. So to get back out there on the floor, play some playoff basketball, and get a big win tonight. It was huge. It was a good feeling. The crowd was crazy, and obviously we did what we needed to do in these first 2 games, going up 2-0, and we got to have our game travel to New Orleans.
So, Chris Mannix, we took a tiny hiatus from jumping on the Warriors bandwagon to all jump on Houston's bandwagon for a bit, and then we saw Steph Curry come back, and we were like, what were we doing for those couple of weeks? Do you think the Warriors reestablished themselves as favorites to win the title after what you saw last night?
Yeah, I mean, I never took them off that kind of pole position, knowing who Steph is and what he brings to the table. So I always thought they were the favorites. Beating them 4 out of 7 was going to be virtually impossible. What I took away, though, from that game was what a blown opportunity for New Orleans. I mean, Anthony Davis is supposed to be this superstar in the league. The fourth quarter, Anthony Davis was a no-show, while Kevin Durant was going off, while Draymond Green was going off. Where was Anthony Davis in this one? So, yeah, I mean, look, give credit to Golden State. Steph's back right now. I don't see how New Orleans wins any more than 1 game in this series. But this is a game, game 2, when they're going to look back and say, wow, we had a chance. We had a chance with Klay Thompson missing, with Steph Curry just coming back. Anthony Davis did not show up. 5 points in that fourth quarter. That killed them.
Yeah, and with New Orleans, especially the first half, when you get through that initial burst, that crowd, stuff coming in, everyone standing up. Because you look at right at halftime, that game was there for them. If you because you have to steal a game. And it wasn't as if Golden State was playing awful. The Pelicans were playing good, too. They had made some adjustments offensively, what they were going to try to do to them, the way they were attacking them. But as you mentioned, man, when they got to crunch time, which was AD time, and Nick and I talked about this the last couple of days, unless he had a stat line very, very similar to LeBron, like 25, that's a subpar night based on what we need him to do with that lack of bench. We need him 35. 38. And what you're saying, if he was able to have that push there at the end, that's where he would have had to be for the Pelicans to pull this off.
Listen, so to answer the question quickly, because I was probably early on the Rockets as far as, and I might end up being wrong, by the way, we'll see. I'm not ready to say the Warriors, okay, clearly they're the favorites now. The Rockets have home court. The Rockets are as healthy as they've been all year. The Rockets are also looking wildly impressive in this postseason, just like Golden State is. So I don't want to be too reactionary to that. I would still, in the Western Conference Finals, pick the Rockets by this much. So I still do feel that way. But about your point about last night's game, you're totally right. Like, Anthony Davis, I understand Draymond Green is Defensive Player of the Year, defending, and arguably should have been for the last 3 years. But that's because he can guard 5 positions. It's because of what he allows you to do switching. It shouldn't be because he can shut down the best big man in the NBA. Anthony Davis, when guarded by Draymond Green, was 4 of 13. When guarded by everyone else, Anthony Davis was 8 of 11. And in the fourth quarter, you're right. I said yesterday on the show, and I think we all agreed, that the only way the Pelicans had a shot to win this series is if they left Golden State 1 apiece. Because I know Charles Barkley and everyone says a series doesn't start till the road team wins a game. Well, guess what? You're skeptical if someone can beat Golden State 4 out of 7. Nobody can beat them 4 out of 5. Yeah. Not happening. And that's now the position the Pelicans are in. This game was 86-85. With 7 minutes left, or 7.5 minutes left. They had the opportunity.
That's Davis time. That's when, look, we had this, after the first round series, the conversation had shifted back again to, is Anthony Davis the most dominant player in basketball? Is he the best player in basketball? Well, the fourth quarter of last night's game, we saw the best player in basketball right now. Kevin Durant had 15 in the fourth quarter. Right now, look, just we can have it's a subjective conversation, I get that. But 15 points for Kevin Durant when it mattered in the fourth quarter. Anthony Davis didn't even lead his team in shots in the fourth quarter. That was Rondo with 8. He finished with 5 points, really only 2 of them during a consequential period of that game before it got out of reach in the final 3 minutes of it. Anthony Davis needed to play big in that game, and Davis didn't, and that's what cost him.
Let's talk about Steph Curry coming back last night. Nick said earlier he was 100% the difference in that game. Not that we were worried before when he came back, but it seems like everything is clicking out. They're 100% healthy. The Pelicans have a shot to get another game at this point?
At home, yeah, they do. They play pretty well down there. And look, as we've seen throughout the playoffs and historically, I mean, Game 3 is when you get your team's best shot. It wouldn't surprise me at all to see the Pelicans come out with a sense of pride and with, they're a team that has good defensive game plans that played pretty well for most of the game last night. I think they get Game 3. But Nick's right. Like, you don't beat Golden State 4 out of 5. You get that Game 3. You lose Game 4. This series ends back at Oakland in Game 3.
And we can't act as if they didn't need Steph to play the way they did.
They did.
Then they need him to play that way.
Clay didn't play well at all.
No. Draymond had a tremendous game, and they needed that KD to take over in the fourth quarter. So I still feel as if they have a chance. Their bench being short, especially as longer the series goes, the more you try to eat in, or the more that bench is exposed for the lack of help that they provided for this team.
And I'll get to Steph in a second. I want to give KD credit because this was a series going into it. You asked yourself, who do the Warriors have that can guard Anthony Davis? And then you asked yourself, who do the Pelicans have that can even kind of guard Kevin Durant?
That was a bigger question for me.
Right.
I knew they'd have to stick Holiday on him, and
right.
that was
the height difference. Holiday's an outstanding defender. He's 7 inches shorter.
And it's how KD plays. Because
Right.
KD can bring the ball up. He can cross you over, shoot the 3. But also, he can get the ball on the elbow, face the bucket, and he's great at just shooting right over top of you.
So, and I'm going to let you slide on. I assume something happened in your brain for a second when you said the best player in basketball. Maybe you meant the Western Conference, maybe you meant the series. I'm not sure exactly what you're saying there, but I'll let it go. But as far as Steph Curry goes, just show what it was with and without him last night. And by the way, it's not like he played 38 minutes. Played 28 minutes. The Warriors played 20 minutes without Steph Curry. Their offensive rating with him was 130. Without him, it was 72. They took 17 threes with him on the court. They were 3 of 17. With him off the court, pardon me. They were 43% with him on the court. Like, that was the difference last night. Like, KD was excellent. Draymond was excellent. But if Steph was out for both games of the first 2, like we thought he might be. We thought going into the series, the first 2 games in Golden State, they're not going to have Steph for either one. Then it would be 1-1. It wouldn't have mattered that Anthony Davis only had 25 and 10. And on Davis, like, this is where he's at in the league. It's a compliment to him. It's a compliment that you can have 25 and 10 or 25-15, pardon me, and we can say you need to do more. Because he absolutely needed to do more. He needed to have a game where we're having the discussion, is Anthony Davis the best player in the world?
Look, he had an all-NBA superstar first half, and after that, it was largely non-existent. He went into that quarter with 20 points, only had 5 in that period. And one thing I like about Durant, I mean, you mentioned the mismatch that he had against Drew Holiday. You look at the fourth quarter of that game, they exploited that mismatch. They went to the post. They allowed Durant to shoot over Holiday, whoever they put on him. Where was Anthony Davis in those situations? There's a size advantage that Davis has when he's on Draymond Green. I thought Draymond was in Davis's head in that fourth quarter. I thought he played more physical. I thought he wanted it more. That's the kind of game where if you're Davis, you have to put your team on your back, and you have to carry them through some of those stretches. He didn't do it in that game. That's going to cost them the series.
All right, Chris, we'll see you a little bit later on in the show. Coming up, can the Cavaliers continue to overcome Kevin Love's poor play, or just Kevin Love not even playing? That's next on First Things First.
Oh, the best player in basketball.